Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed it so far. We haven't had much time to look around yet, but we're going to do some today because we finished pretty early. Um, but so far, I absolutely love it. We've been eating some really delicious food, and the Japanese food that we have back home is just insulting. And so it's really nice to have some authentic Japanese food in Japan. I did, but it wasn't the same. Sorry. I did go to the Owl Cafe, but it wasn't what I expected it was going to be. And unfortunately, the owls were tied up and weren't allowed to fly around ever, and so it was quite sad. But we ended up with stumbling across this really cool shop called WeGo, and I bought loads of crazy glasses and necklaces, so I still had fun. That was one of the main things that I really wanted to do while I was here was meet all of the Japanese fans. I always get tweets and messages on my Instagram from all my Japanese fans, and so it was really, really lovely to meet a handful of them at the event. And they were just so lovely, and I've got loads of really sweet little gifts. I got some Japanese chopsticks, and they're all engraved and so beautiful, and it was really, really lovely to meet them. Yes. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you. Shall I show? They are so, so beautiful. Thank you. I'll use them as script marks. Oh, great! Now I know how to write it. I'll try and learn how to write it, and I can sign. Of course, of course. This is how I think Arya would look if she was one of these ninjas. So cool. Very, very cool. Thank you very, very much. That's so lovely. It's so lovely. I get to celebrate my birthday so many days after my actual birthday. Thank you. Well, I look at a lot of my friends and see, what it was like for them growing up. And at times I felt very envious of them being able to make mistakes, but not the whole world knowing about it. And so that was something that I guess was a little bit sad about, but I've also never really known anything different, and so I don't feel like I was missing anything because this was just how my life was, and I've never experienced, being 16, 17, not being Arya Stark. And so, although there are times when I just wish that, I could be anonymous, I've had an absolute ride the last 7 years, and I've thoroughly enjoyed every moment, and I wouldn't trade that in ever to be anonymous again, because it's completely changed my life for the better. Well, I guess there are similarities in that sense because I was a child working in an adult world, and I was 12 years old, and but still had a job, and it was a very different job. It wasn't like working in a shop, but it was still a job, and I was still surrounded by adults, and the schedule was an adult schedule, and uh, it was very difficult for a child, but it definitely helped me grow up very quickly and mature faster than a lot of people my age, because I just kind of had to. But I'm very, very pleased about it, and I definitely found like that was a similarity between myself and Arya, and she's had to grow up very quickly, and she kind of lived in this world where her parents didn't tell her much about the real world, and when she then finally has to tackle this world on her own, she learns so much so quickly, and is kind of forced to almost. And we definitely have that in common. I love learning new skills with jobs and with roles because they're just things that you'd never usually learn, or we don't take the time out in our lives to learn all those random skills that are fun to do. And so I very much enjoy the sword fighting and the horse riding and all the other crazy things that Arya gets up to. And it's definitely difficult, although it's very much fun. It is still a lot of fun. there are times where it's very difficult, the stamina to have to keep shooting the same fight scene over and over again from different angles is very physically draining, but I still very much enjoy it. I like to think so. When I'm not wearing my peanut top. Yeah, honestly, it was the most exciting thing being at the Emmys that year. It was the first time I'd ever been, and not only were we thrilled to win Best Drama, but we smashed the record, and it was just so incredible. And it was a moment where there have been times growing up on this show where lots of people have kind of made me feel like, yeah, but what about after Game of Thrones, and you know, or particularly in the beginning series, when a lot of people where I live didn't have very much faith and didn't believe that I could ever, you know, be part of something that was really, really special. And then at that moment when we not only won Best Drama but smashed the record, it was just a moment in myself where I was like, hey, I can make this my career for the rest of my life. And I was really, really pleased and really happy, and it was such a heartwarming moment, and it was so wonderful to spend it with the rest of the cast, and we all worked so hard on this show, and to get credit for that is lovely. For Arya this year, there are a lot of really low points, but it does all resolve in the end to a nice climax for her, and I feel like in the process of her being beaten down and built back up again, and stripping back her personality and constantly learning from the House of Black and White, she develops and learns skills that she ultimately uses to her advantage, and that's definitely the high point for her. That is the biggest part to play in her low points. She is now totally dependent on people around her, and she is usually so independent, and although she takes part in other people's lives, she's still very much her own person and a lone soldier. And so this year, for her to actually physically need all the help that she can get is a very different spot to see her in, and it's very unsettling for her, and not somewhere that she particularly likes to be, and her vision is a massive point in that. Yeah, I think every year coming back, you know, being part of Arya's never been part of the big battle sequences or the dragon elements to the show. So those are the moments, I think, when the cast really, it kind of really hits home to us all how big the show is getting and how epic these scenes are going to be. For Arya, she's not a part of that as much, but it's still incredible to watch on screen, and every year to just watch these scenes get more and more elaborate is just so exciting. Yeah, the attention to detail on this show is amazing, and our art department just don't get enough credit for the amount of work that they do. And you know, all the massive books have all got writing in, and they've all got, you know, Game of Thrones world, you know, the whole Game of Thrones world inside of them, and someone, you know, sat there and wrote all of that down just to maybe be in shot for like half a second, and it's just, the attention to detail is amazing, and that's what makes it so special. Being on set, not only for you guys to watch it, but to be on set, it's like you're actually there, and that's, you know, the best thing that you can ask for as an actor. I really loved Ygritte, but then she got killed. But she is my favourite, and I was really rooting for her, and I loved what Rose Leslie did with that character. And characters that are still alive. I've always found Bran very interesting in his storyline, and that comes back in a big way this year. So there's a lot to look forward to with his storyline, and I can't wait to see the fan reactions. I would like to see a good character on the Iron Throne. like a lot of people would. But I just feel like that's too much of an easy ending for the show. And it will probably be someone more like Melisandre, and I'd probably hugely disagree with it. But it would just be such a bittersweet ending, and it would be like the perfect ending to evil show. I would. I don't think I would kill the bad characters. I'd probably make them work for me. And all of the evil, manipulative characters like Varys and like Littlefinger, I'd probably take under my wing and use them to my advantage. Okay, so the one person that I respect the most, can they be dead or alive, or do they have to be alive still? Okay, the one person I respect most was Charles Dance. He just was so lovely to me, and I was just like a kid, and he, always stayed around for my coverage, and was just a real gentleman on set, and it meant so much to me, and taught me so much about, the respect on set, and yeah, I really got on well with him. The person that I am closest with, my closest friend, is Sophie, who plays Sansa, and we have been ever since we met each other at the beginning. And then the person who is most different to their character is probably Lena. She is nothing like Cersei. She's totally goofy, and I get on really well with her. I don't think I'd get on very well with Cersei. Well, I'd never really thought about, the sort of genres that I want to do, or the sort of characters that I wanted to play, but I'm just very thrilled to work with as many people as possible, and with as many different people as possible, and new directors and up-and-coming directors and new actors and very experienced actors. I just want to work with a big variety of people, and I'm not fussy as to whether that's television or film or short films or independent films or big budget films, or whether that they're working with certain directors that I want to be working with, or certain actors. I'm not really fussy. I just know that I want to have a big variety of people. Hello, all of my Japanese fans. I hope you enjoy the new season of Game of Thrones, and I hope I get to meet as many of you as possible. Bye.